just be one sec here to get into the group.
No problem.
They're going to be so excited to see you.
I don't know about that. They probably will be.
Just be a sec here. And then I'm going to exit out of this window so we don't echo everywhere. Awesome.
I don't hear an echo. Hopefully you don't on my. Perfect.
Oh, it's great. Well, I'm so excited, everyone. I have my lovely client, Jami, with me tonight. We are going to talk a little bit about her experience in the program I created called the Anti-Arthritis Method, because I think it's so important that you get an idea of what this is like. And it's not just me telling you about it. It's so you can actually see a real person who has gone through this experience and has shared their transformation from where they were when they first started experiencing arthritis symptoms and how they are now. So I'm super excited to have Jami with me today so she can share her experiences with you. And hopefully I know that it's going to inspire you. And yes, I think you're going to get so much out of this. So thank you so much, Jami, for being here tonight with me. I really appreciate this. And I know that what you have to say is going to help so many people in our group. So thank you.
You're welcome. I'm happy to be here. And I hope I can help someone, because I know there's people that have helped me along the way too, being a part of this group. So I appreciate you asking me to come on tonight.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, I think one of the biggest questions I always have for my clients, and of course, I know you and I had a conversation months ago before you joined the program, is just what was going on for you before you and I met in terms of your arthritis. Obviously, you are one of the younger members in my program. I know I experienced my first arthritis symptoms when I was in my early 30s. And I think that we kind of had a similar bit of a story. So do you mind just sharing a little bit about what was happening with your health before we met?
Sure. Yep, you're right. I was about 36. I was 36 when I started to have arthritis pain. So basically, before I joined the program, I had a lot of joint pain in my hands, in my feet. I woke up most mornings with that morning stiffness you get. I would have regular flare-ups, and mostly in my wrists and in my ankles at that time. But it was getting to the point that I would wake up some mornings and I wouldn't be able to go to my exercise class because my body was in pain that day. Or I would be trying to make lunches for my kids and I couldn't close the Ziploc bags because my fingers were so stiff. So I think when those things started happening, I realized that this is interfering with my daily life and that it was time to do something about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. When it's really starting to interfere like that, it usually starts off in small ways, but it can, those things can really add up and really get in the way over time. So I'm so glad that you reached out when you did. And how long were you having those symptoms going on for?
About a year and a half before I found your program. So they started, they started with my hands first. And then it kind of started to make its way to my feet. And then I started having flare-ups in my ankles and my wrists. So I would say from the beginning to when I found you, it was definitely a good year and a half of time that I was dealing with the pain and trying to figure out what was going on.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I remember when I was experiencing that too, and just like the feelings of fear and frustration. I don't know if you can relate to any of that at all.
Oh yeah, for sure. It was scary. I have 4 young children. So it was scary when there would come times it'd be hard to pick up the baby. It was scary. It was discouraging. I found myself very frustrated with my body and not understanding what was causing this joint pain. I kind of always stereotyped it thinking that this was something that happened when you were much older. So it came as a big surprise that I was experiencing these things in my mid-30s.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, what had you tried before we met? Is there anything like medications or other like alternative health modalities?
I started off going to an acupuncturist, is that how you say it? I started off with acupuncture, and I did that for about 6 months. And I have nothing bad to say. It was a very successful experience for a while. For a good 6 months, I was able to kind of control my pain level in my hands. But then as time went on and I started to feel the aches and pains in other places, it wasn't as effective anymore. So at that point, I went and saw a rheumatologist. And of course, the first appointment, right away, they wanted to put me on medication. And I remember just sitting in that doctor's office thinking, there has to be a more natural way to do this. This cannot be my only option right now. And a lot of the things they were talking about, a lot of the side effects long term of the medications. And at the time, I just thought, wow, I'm only 36. I don't want us to jump to medication right away. I wanted to see if there's other alternatives. So that's when I came home and I started to research the anti-inflammatory diet and the AIP protocol diet. And I was trying to find out as much as I could to see what those diets were all about so I could try to figure this out on my own. And in that research, I came across you and came across the program, the Anti-Arthritis Method. And that's kind of how I ended up where I am today.
Love it. So can I ask, what made you decide to join the Anti-Arthritis Method program and work with me? I'm assuming you probably had some reservations. I don't know, but
I'll share all that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I found when I was doing all of that research on my own and trying to figure out what foods do I need to eliminate and how do I reintroduce them and what recipes do I make for my family and for me and what supplements should I be taking? All of that was so overwhelming. So when I came across your program and I realized, okay, I'm going to work with a nutritionist, a holistic nutritionist who is going to kind of coach me through this, help me eliminate foods, help me with recipes of what to make for me so that I can heal my gut. That was very beneficial, something that I thought would be very helpful to have that relationship. And then I also was really interested in the whole aspect of having a support system of people that I could reach out to that were experiencing the same things as me, because I didn't have that. I didn't have friends or family around me that were experiencing the same type of pain I was from joint pain. So they couldn't really relate. They didn't understand. And so that was something that really drew me to the program too, knowing that there would be weekly calls with a group of people who were going through the same things as me.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so glad you shared that because I know when I was first experiencing my symptoms, I didn't find anything even close to what I ended up creating. And the reason I created it is because I didn't have that option, 10 years ago. And having that support network, I think, is so key. Just to not feel like you're alone, and just to feel that you do have somebody to talk to and you do have someone to go to for support. And then as well, having kind of a set out plan that you just follow along. I remember I was just like trying to piece together like everything I could try to find and trying one thing and then trying the next thing. And it was exhausting. And there was a lot of trial and error.
Well, and you don't know what's really working because you're just kind of trying all of these things. And that was what I found myself doing. And nothing was giving me the outcome I wanted. I will say, I think you had asked if I had any reservations. So I'll be honest, I did. So my big thing was I had a fear that if I did this program and if it didn't help me, what am I going to do next? Because I felt like I've done all of these things. I felt like I was doing the right things. I thought I was exercising. I was getting enough sleep. I thought I was eating a healthy diet. I have found out now through the program that what I thought was healthy wasn't healthy for my body. But at the time, before I went through this process, I was worried that if it didn't work, is there any hope for me, or is it going to be medication for the rest of my life? So it was probably after the initial webinar, probably a good 2 weeks that I kind of just sat on it with this fear. And then we had a family member that passed away, and it was a very emotional week, very exhausting week. Probably wasn't getting sleep, wasn't eating right. And one morning I woke up and I had a flare up in my knee. And that was the first time that had happened. and it was bad. Like I could barely get out of bed and walk, and I have like the children to take care of. So it was that morning that I thought, okay, you need to take this opportunity, I guess, that you've been given as an opportunity to change your life and to help you. And only good could come from this is what I kept telling myself. So I'm so glad that I did. I wish I would have done it sooner, but that was my big reservation. It was more the fear of, what if I try this too and it doesn't work for me?
Yeah, no, and thank you so much for sharing that, because I think so many people would have that same fear. It's like, oh my gosh, is this the end of the road? And then what?
Right.
So I'm so glad you shared that, because like I said, it's so good to know other people who are experiencing the same things, and to know that, yeah, you're normal. This is not just an isolated thing that's just on you. So yeah, I think that's so important to know. Um, and what would I guess I know everyone's going to be super excited to know. So where are you now with your health? What has been, what has been the transformation for you? What has been the takeaways from the program? And
Well, I will say now I wake up every day and I don't have pain, which was a huge goal of mine, to just wake up and not have, the stiff hands and the achy feet. I will say I can manage it now. So I feel like from this program, I have learned, by eliminating certain things from my diet and introducing them again, I have learned what is healthy for my body and what doesn't work for my body. So I think that has been the biggest thing for me, because I didn't, before I ate eggs every day and I thought that was a healthy thing for me. But I have learned through this, since I've, eliminated them and added them back in, that eggs and it's just one of those things that I shouldn't incorporate into my diet every day. And eliminating those, I feel so much better. So I feel like I know my body better now. I know what triggers my inflammation. And I know there's going to be times maybe we're on vacation, or maybe there's family in from out of town, and I might fall off track a little bit, but I feel like I now have the tools to get back on track. I know what to do to manage my arthritis pain. And I did not know that before.
yeah, amazing. Amazing. So was there anything that you learned in the process where you were surprised? Like anything that stood out to you where you're like, huh, I never thought of that before. I know the
Do you
eggs thing,
mean?
that's a big one.
Yeah. The eggs was a big one. Coffee is another one for me. I learned, I've learned I need to cut it down. I used to be a 2 to 3 cup of coffee a day kind of girl. Now I have like a cup of coffee and mostly green tea. So that was another thing I've learned about myself. That was a big surprise for me. Um, I've learned that with exercise, I've always been a very active person, but I've learned that maybe with having the joint pain, I still am very active, but I've learned to balance it a little bit more. So I've always liked to run and do yoga and to do more intense cardio workouts. So I've learned that I need to balance that a little bit more. So I've worked more yoga into my exercise routine. I'm making sure that I get adequate sleep so that my body has time to heal and recover. And before, I thought I was doing a good job with that, but I've learned now, like, I really need a solid 8 hours. That's what I need to do. So if I need to turn the television off at 10 o'clock, I need to do that. And I've learned that I have to make some of these lifestyle changes to really support my health.
Yeah, absolutely. And everybody's different. Like everybody has different foods that affect us,
Right.
differently. And, some people can tolerate coffee better than others. I know that was a huge revelation for me too, but the diet that I thought I was eating that was super clean and super healthy and plant-based there was just so many foods I was eating that were so inflammatory for me. But for somebody who didn't have an autoimmune form of arthritis, they would have been just fine. So yeah, and you have to, I think it's just so key, like you said, just paying attention to your body and learning what you actually need, and trying new things out. Like you said, like learning that, you do need to prioritize sleep, and that you are going to, incorporate some more gentle exercise into your routine as opposed to always like super high intensity stuff. So that I think
Right.
is such a key takeaway, is just learning to listen to our bodies is so important.
And I think this program makes you do that if you're really invested in it. So I appreciate that because it made me reflect on a lot of things and then make little adjustments and try them out and see how they work for me.
Yeah, amazing. Love it. Um, and I guess now from where you were before experiencing your joint pain and the flare-ups to now, what's changed for you? Like how has getting rid of that pain and having that consistently in your life, how has that changed how you're living and how you're feeling?
I think I'm back to myself more, I guess I would say. I feel like for a while there, I found myself depressed is not the right word, just frustrated. I was very frustrated with how I felt and frustrated that I had these young children to care for. And sometimes my body hurt so bad. It took a lot just to get through the day to take care of them. So now I feel like I get up and I have energy. I'm for the most part pain free. I feel like I'm more positive again, like I used to be. And, I want to be that happy mom for my kids. I don't want to be the mom that is discouraged. So I want them to see that from me. So I just feel like in general, it's even made my relationships a little bit better because I guess, when you're dealing with pain, sometimes I look back and like, wow, I was kind of like grumpy, I wasn't like my happy chipper self. So I feel like I've gotten that back.
Oh, I love that so much. That makes me so happy to hear that.
Yes, I know. I'm happy too. And I feel so much better. If I was at like a pain scale of like 8 or 9 before, wait, what would be the right way to do the pain scale?
Yeah,
I'm
you
trying to
could say
think.
like 10 is like a 10 is like off the charts
Yeah.
pain and one's nothing.
Okay. So I would say I'm like a 2, 3 for the most part, but I used to be at like an 8, 9. So to me,
Awesome.
that's a success.
Absolutely, absolutely. That just makes my day to hear that. That's so
I'm
wonderful.
so glad. It's because of the program you created.
Aw, I appreciate that so much. And I have just one more question for you. So for those people who are listening who have been thinking maybe for a while, like you did, like whether or not they actually want to participate in this program and if this is something that they want to, kind of take a leap and do, what would you recommend to people who are kind of on the fence about it?
I would say to do it. I don't let fear, stand in your way like I almost did. And I would say that you can feel like your old self again. It's a relatively easy process when you really think about it, but it is hard work too because you're doing something you're not used to doing. But if you stay consistent with your nutrition and you make some lifestyle changes, you can feel better than you even thought was going to be possible again. And for me, I just wish I would have found this program sooner. And I know it was only about a year and a half, but I wish I would have found it sooner so that I could have eliminated all of that time trying to figure things out.
Yeah, well, I'm so glad you found it when you did. I just, yeah, I'm so happy you're feeling like yourself again and that you have the energy to, be the happy self that you normally are and look after those 4 little ones that you have. Because yeah, that's a big job. That's a busy job to have as a mom of 4 children. So I'm glad. And I figured, hey, if you can fit that into your day and learn
Right.
some new strategies, I think, that gives a lot of people hope that they would be able to as well, because
Yes. I think it was all for me about the planning. So making sure that I had all of my meals prepped for the week. I had like grocery shopping done on the weekend. I had snacks that were readily available to me in the refrigerator so that I didn't just go and grab things I knew weren't going to be good for me. So for me, I think what made this work so well is just this is something you talked about at the beginning of the program, is just planning ahead, making sure you meal prep, making sure you know or have food available so that you are staying on plan. And I think that was key from the very beginning to kind of give that message and then to kind of help us, because you in the program kind of give tips on how to do all of this. I think that really helped set me up for success from the beginning.
Awesome. Yeah, planning is absolutely key. I couldn't agree more. That's, that's what I really wanted to hone in on in the program, just to make it as simple as possible, step by step, paint by number, follow along,
Right.
plan ahead, and then you just execute and then you get results. So thank you so much again,
You're
Jamie, for sharing
welcome.
this with everybody who is watching and listening and who will benefit from what you have to say tonight. And
Well, thank you for having me.
oh, you're so welcome. And I wish you all the best. It was such a pleasure working with you. And yes, I hope you can stay in touch. Say hi in the group.
For sure. I'm still in the Facebook group, so I plan on, if it's okay, still, well, yeah, staying involved. And I love all the recipes that get posted. I still use a lot of those occasionally. I like watching all the lives you post. So
well, thank you
for
so
sure.
much. I appreciate it so much, and enjoy the rest of your night. And
You too.
yes, thank you so much. You take care.
Okay. Thanks, Jessica.
Bye.